Like I said, I'll let you know.
Do you guys know if you're going to let Mr. Menzies go?
It's not our decision. We're just lodging.
Is he going to the station and at the court, or?
I have no idea.
Okay.
For those of you who are watching or listening on podcast, turn the volume down there. For those of you who are listening on podcast, we're looking at a video of David Menzies, David the Menzoid Menzies, Rebel News journalist up in Canada, being arrested again. I don't know, he's been arrested at least 3 times since I've been following him in the last year and a half. I follow him for longer than that, but at least 3 times in the last year and a half or 2 years, he's been arrested. He's been released. From what I understand, he was charged with trespass for being in an area in Ottawa, I believe, where there were thousands of other people he was reporting, and he has a knack for being picked up by the Gestapo of Canada. And why do I use that hyperbolic rhetoric, Gestapo of Canada? When they ask the police officer, what's going on? I can't tell you. We're just following orders.
Do you guys know if you're going to let Mr. Menzies go?
It's not our decision. We're just lodging.
Is he going to the station?
It's not our decision. You're gonna let the journalist go that you just arrested. You put in the back of the paddy wagon. It's not our decision. We're just lodging him. He said, "It's not our decision. We're just following orders." People, this is how it happens in real time. How good people do bad things, or bad people get empowered to do bad things. I don't know if these people are good or bad. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They might be good people. They sure as hell are doing the heavy lifting for the bad people.
Menzies go?
It's not our decision. We're just lodging.
Is he going to the station and at the court?
Not our decision. Alrighty, no idea. I don't care. I'm just following orders. I'm just doing my job. I don't want to have my paycheck revoked. I don't want to have my bank account frozen by Herr Trudeau. Good evening, everybody. Stormtroopers is one way to describe them. Good evening, everybody. Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. And the news is that David Menzies has been released. He thanked all of his supporters. Thanks to fine folks at Rebel News. He has been released, and he's going to live to journalize another day. Rebel News is real journalism. They certainly are the real opposition in Canada. You have state-funded media that's reliant on those government dollars, sure as hell not going to cross the hand that feeds them or bite the hand that feeds them. Totally ridiculous. Commie Canada is happening in real time. Jeannie Cavender. We're going to talk about, there's going to be a theme in the intro. So first of all, Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned Florida rumbler. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, share, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. You know what to do. We have a guest coming on tonight. He's going to come on roughly at 7 o'clock or thereabouts. His name is Dexter Taylor. He is being prosecuted in New York State on state charges for having an arsenal of ghost guns. We're going to get into that in a bit. The theme for the first half hour of this show is going to be the theme for the next hour or whatever of the show, for however long Dexter is on for. Government overreach, and to the point of Canada becoming a commie hellhole. Yes, I put out a vlog yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. Basically documenting how you do this by controlling the media through direct financing with state media, then indirect bailouts, then indirect subsidizing through government advertising, and then through legislation. And now we're seeing this happen in Brazil, going after Twitter and Musk, and they're employing the exact same tactics that have been employed up in Canada. It's almost like there's an annual meeting where these people get together and discuss all of these tactics. It's almost like these various governments across the world have been penetrated by Sir Klaus Schwab and are all employing the same tactics over and over again. It is scary. Canadians don't deserve this takeover. We'll talk about how you fight back peacefully, patriotically, and politically, because as we've seen on January 6th, real or perceived violence is not the answer. As we've seen on January 8th in Brazil, Violence is not the answer. It only empowers the tyrants. And as we've seen in Canada, you don't even have to have actual violence in order for the government to raise as a pretext violence for the purposes of violently suppressing a peaceful protest. All right. For those of you who don't know how this works, we start off on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where we should be live now. Are we live on Rumble? We're live on Rumble. We're live on Locals. Good evening, everyone, says Rob A. Stop my bitches, says Bart Cop 2. Well, Viva, I have to disagree. Rob, I know what you're going to disagree with. And I know what you're going to disagree with. We'll agree to disagree on this. All right. What's going to happen tonight? We're going to start off. I think I might just go over to Rumble for the entire interview so as to not break up the interview, and then post the entire interview on YouTube tomorrow. It'll get the stale leftovers, not the live party that we get on Viva Frei on Rumble. But this is what I have to do first before we get started. I was so excited and so distracted yesterday. I forgot to do the sponsors for yesterday's stream. So we're going to do them tonight, and it's going to fit into the theme. The two sponsors we have for the night are going to fit into the theme, which is government overreach and how do you protect yourself from the government, people. Let's do protecting yourself financially from the government. And we're going to start with gold. When I can find here we go. Oh yeah, look at this. It's not idolatry. It's an investment, people. Are we looking at the same video? It's gonna end before I finish. There it is. Look at that. Oh yeah, people. All right, here we go. New central digital bank currency. It's coming. They could replace your dollars with digital currency. And what happens when the government can track your digital currency? They can shut you off. They can shut you down, and they can deplatform you, and they can starve you to death. Basically, they can starve you into submission. Americans who want to protect their liberty and privacy need to prepare themselves for what's to come. That's why many Americans are turning to physical gold and silver to diversify their wealth. If you want to protect your retirement, I recommend you request your free investment guide from my friends at Preserve Gold today. They'll explore the right options for you. They can roll over I don't know how this works, but they can roll over your investments into gold from an IRA, 401k, et cetera, et cetera. They make it easy. BBB, triple B accredited, zero consumer complaints, hundreds of satisfied clients. They're the founding members of the Precious Metals Association, so you know you're in good hands. And there's an exclusive offer for Viva Frei viewers. They'll give you up to $10,000 in free gold and silver with a qualifying purchase or retirement account rollover. They'll even throw in an immediate $500 credit if you request your investor guide today. PreserveGold.com/Viva to get your free gold and silver investment guide. Take the first step towards protecting your wealth. I always make the joke, first of all, the link is in the pinned comment. The link is in the description, so go check it out. I always make the joke that I can't sponsor Bitcoin because I don't understand it. Can't understand exactly how gold valuation works either. All that I know is that for thousands of years, it's been the gold standard, yada, yada. And it's done well. I remember when gold was $750 an ounce, and now it's like, what, $2,300 an ounce? Canadian. PreserveGold.com, promo code Viva. Get your free guide and protect your future. Now, speaking of, I'm going to get into the story. I'm going to summarize the story of Dexter Taylor's plight. We're going to go over the charges. The story briefly before he comes in, so we don't have to start from ground, basic point zero when he comes in. But before we're going to get there, what's going on in the news, people? I'm going to put out a vlog later on. I couldn't finish it before getting this stream going. Brazil. I had on a while back Paulo Figueiredo. I did an interview with him after Bolsonaro had lost the election in Brazil. When they had it was after the January 8th. They literally have their own January 6th. Every country now has to fabricate their own day of insurrection. You got January 6th in America. You got your Ottawa protest in Canada. You've got your January 8th in Brazil, and they use it as a pretext to come down with exactly what is coming down right now in Brazil. I will decline Associated Press. Elon Musk will be investigated over fake news and obstruction in Brazil after a Supreme Court order. There's going to be a funny vlog when I finish editing it after the stream, but Brazil, it's a very interesting country. I can't pretend to understand exactly how things work there. It's democracy. They have elections, although there's a lot of charges and accusations of fortification of elections, controlling information, censorship, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a dude in Brazil named Alexander de Moraes who is on the Supreme Court of Brazil. And apparently, from what I was explained from Paulo Figueiredo, whose grandfather was the former president of Brazil back in the 1980s, This guy, Moraes, is basically the most powerful person in the country because the judiciary effectively controls the country and dictates policy and law. And they're working now hand in hand with Lula, the newly elected lefty. And what do commies like to do? They like to censor ideas because they can't win on the free, peaceful, open debate of ideas. They can only win through suppression and violence. This is what's going on in Brazil, because now they're asking Musk to basically do what they were trying to do in America back when, Baker, the lawyer, was infiltrating or had infiltrated Twitter, when you had your backdoor meetings with the CIA, the FBI, who were telling Twitter to take down posts, suppress stories that were actually true, the suppression of which actually interfered with elections, that being the Hunter Biden story. They're doing in Brazil what they tried to do and got away with in America until Elon bought the company and blew the lid off of it. A crusading Brazilian Supreme Court justice has included Elon Musk as a target in an ongoing investigation over the dissemination of fake news. Sound familiar? Investigate the company, investigate the man under the pretext of fake news and disinformation. In his decision, Justice Alejandra de Moraes noted that Musk on Saturday began waging a public, quote, disinformation campaign. This is regarding the top court's actions, and that Musk continued the following day, most notably with comments on his social media that X would not comply with the court orders to block certain accounts. If you don't know what's going on in Brazil, the court ordered Musk to take down a number of Twitter accounts. Publication ban, obviously, because you can't have any sunlight on this. We don't know which accounts. We don't know why. Musk and Twitter don't know why either, but they're being ordered to take down these accounts. They can't disclose which accounts. They can't disclose which justices issued this order, and they can't discuss it publicly because democracy dies in darkness is not a fear, but rather a strategy. Musk, the CEO, and Musk says, I'm not doing it. CEO of SpaceX, who took Twitter publicly, okay. He accused Moraes of suppressing free speech and violating Brazil's constitution, noted that X users could seek to bypass any shutdown of the social media platform by using VPNs or virtual private networks. I was going to make as a joke that Musk should invest in a VPN company in Brazil. He will be investigated for alleged intentional criminal instrumentalization of X. Show me the man and I will find you the crime. And once we say that disinformation is criminal, like we're trying to do up in Canada, once we're trying to criminalize speech, you're going to go after the platforms. This is what is to come in Canada. We're just a few years behind. Intentional criminal instrumentalization of X as part of an investigation into a network of people known as digital militias who allegedly spread defamatory fake news and threats against the Supreme Court justices. It's an amazing thing. If they post threats, there are already laws to deal with that. But take it down, take the accounts down, or we're going to shut your business down and investigate you, Elon. Listen to this. According to the text of the decision, the new investigation will look at whether Musk engaged in obstruction, criminal organization, and incitement. RICO. Go after Musk for RICO for not suppressing free speech. The flagrant conduct of obstruction of Brazilian justice, incitement of crime, the public threat of disobedience of court orders, and future lack of cooperation from the platform are facts that disrespect the sovereignty of Brazil, de Moraes wrote Sunday. X's press did not officially reply for a request, yada, yada, yada. Brazil's political right has long characterized de Moraes as overstepping his bounds to clamp down on free speech and engage in political persecution. This is de Moraes. It's literally like the guy from Star Wars. Or like The Ring, like as you absorb all that power, it absolutely sucks your soul out of your body. In digital militias investigation, lawmakers from former President Jair Bolsonaro's circle have been imprisoned and his supporters' homes raided. Bolsonaro himself became a target of the investigation in 2021. I don't think we really need to go much more into this detail. This is exactly what they're doing to Trump in America. It's like it's a page out of communist, fascistic, totalitarian playbook. They're doing this in Brazil. They're doing this in America in real time. And these are the countries looking at Putin and saying this guy's a dictator, looking at Kim Jong-un saying this guy's a dictator. The justice in March 2022 ordered a shutdown of the messaging app Telegram. The Moraes defenders have said his decisions, although extraordinary, it's warranted. They're legally sound and necessary to purge social media of fake news as well as extinguish threats to Brazilian democracy. Notoriously underscored by the January 8, 2023 uprising. There are a few hundred people took over a building, uprising. Judicial decisions can be subject to appeal, but never deliberate non-compliance. This is where the problem ultimately is. Principles matter says, all right, everybody's heard this news. This is where the issue actually lies, where you say, got to respect the law of the land in countries in which you operate. When you bend the knee like he did in India, when you bend the knee like he did to Turkey, I mean, at some point, you make a business decision as to whether or not you're going to operate by the rules of corrupt totalitarian regimes. And you'll remember Musk infamously said, you're gonna blackmail me with money? Go fuck yourself. And the problem is, as one country starts to do it after another, and as one country sees the bending of the knee in other countries, they're empowered to do it. At some point, Musk is going to have to make the decision that Rumble had to make. When they told Rumble to take down RT in France, and Rumble said, we can't do that, it's against our principles as a free speech platform. They said, okay, well, that's it. Rumble said, we will not do business in France. Now, if you're in France and you want to get Rumble, you got to get a VPN. But at some point, they're going to have to make the decision as to whether or not they continue to operate under the rules of corrupt, unjust regimes that cause them and force them to violate their own principles of existence. And it's going to be a dollar consideration, or it's going to be a principled consideration. But that's what's going on in Brazil. And that's what's going on in Canada, by the way. I'm going to draw some analogies here. They got to enact legislation to tamp down on disinformation on the internet. They're going after Trump in Georgia for RICO organization of overturning elections. It's the same playbook across the globe right now. And at some point, people have to understand it and vote accordingly, because it's the biggest year for votes, the biggest election year globally in a long time, if ever. Here, this is very good. Greg McNeely says, read C.S. Lewis quote, of all tyrannical regimes. Well, hold on, we'll pull it up. I've read this multiple times on the channel. It's the best. Of all the tyrannies, the one sincerely exercised with the blessing, C.S. Lewis, tyrannies. Here, listen to this. I'll bring it up. Here we go. Look at this. It's fantastic. Here, share screen. Take this down. Present. And no thanks. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It may be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep. His cupidity may at some point be satiated. But those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. They may be more likely to go to heaven, yet at the same time likelier to make a hell on earth. Their very kindness stings with intolerable insult. To be, quote, cured against one's will and cured of states which may not regard as disease is to be put on a level of those who have not yet reached the age of reason, or those who never will, to be classed with infants, imbeciles, and domestic animals. It's beautiful. Okay, let me see what's going on here on Rumble and YouTube. Ooh, hold on, check this out. Booyah, I think we've got 2 new members. Stop screen. And hold on, we got 2 new members. Look at this. This is fantastic.
There's one simple hearing hack anyone can use to improve their hearing.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm screwing everything up. I can't read it. Hope for Love and Peace is a new monthly supporter. Welcome to the channel. Hope for Love and Peace. Oh, my goodness. All right. And by the way, so we're going to get all of the, I'm not going to forget again tonight. The next sponsor also in the vein of freedom and revolution. Coffee. It's called 1775 for a good reason, because that's the year that came before 1776. Are you a sleepy Joe who has zero cognitive performance? Scared of walking upstairs without being worried you're going to fall down? Scared of walking upstairs without being worried you're going to fall down? Do you struggle to muster and focus and brain power for the basic things in life, such as eating ice cream or riding a bike? You need to stop drinking woke liberal coffee. Stop going to Starbucks and start your day by drinking Rumble's very own 1775 coffee. Never mind that it'll be the best tasting coffee you've had in your life, as it's seriously good. It'll put hair on your chest, as I like to say. It's also ethically sourced from a family farm in the high altitude mountains of Bolivia. So instead of waking up tomorrow morning and drinking your mold infested, big corporation owned woke ideology coffee that is probably making you sick from the pesticides it's sprayed with. Try Rumble's 1775 coffee, support freedom of speech, and build a parallel economy that actually values you. 1775.com right now. Go there, pick up your first bag, use promo code VIVA to save 10% off your first order. My favorite most is the dark one. I just get the dark one. I think dark has less caffeine than the light. I'm not sure how that works. Dark is good. You won't regret it for a moment. Level up your morning routine with a bag of 1775 coffee. Sleep well at night knowing your hard-earned dollars are going towards a company that supports free speech and the creators over here on Rumble. 1775.com. Booyah. I think it's /Viva or promo code Viva, whatever it is. The links to both of our wonderful sponsors are in the top comment. Okay, so now we're going to get ready for the stream. Although I had a couple of videos that I wanted to play here, but maybe I'll save them for tomorrow. By the way, I'm heading to Ottawa for the CS, Canadian Strong and Free Network. So that's going to be fun. Look, to make sure we have enough time, I'm going to go over the story of the day so that we know the basics before our guest comes on. Ghost guns is it's a very scary word. They're untraceable. The government can't know that you have them. And the government needs to know everything that you have so they can know whose door to knock or knock down. And they don't want people assembling their own guns. Basically, the war on the Second Amendment is that which facilitates the war on the First Amendment. And now, having lived and grown up in Canada, and I love and adore what I do believe is the culture of Canada, one thing is for certain, we do not have the same Second Amendment culture up in Canada that exists in America. That being said, and I don't think it's a coincidence, we don't have the same First Amendment culture up in Canada that we have down here in America. And whether or not they're interconnected, who knows? Okay, hold on. Lynn Westover Jr., the man, dude, how's it going? First of all, Heidi had her baby goat, so you'll have to come up and check it out. Allison Morrow, check out her YouTube channel, check out her Rumble channel. Her locals is Allison Morrow at Locals. Lynn, let us know what her locals is. They're friends. I went to see them. They're friends. These are wonderful people that I've met through this. They had a goat, not just Peter, the one who I made friends with. They had a female goat that had a baby, and I already saw the picture of it, Lynn. It's beautiful. Congratulations, and may there be many a goat cheese and that stuff. Okay, back to the guy. So the guy that we're going to interview tonight, Dexter Taylor, is a New York born and raised. Seems like a very good guy. I've listened to a number of his interviews today. He is a Second Amendment proponent, member of the local rifle club. I now know this impeccable, flawless, immaculate, no criminal record. He took an interest in assembling his own firearms. And he was raided, but how, by the government, and now is standing trial under a state statute. And that's it. Ghost gun bust reveals arsenal. An arsenal at a New York City apartment. Prosecutors. Does this ring any bells of familiarity? Like when the Coots 4 were arrested and they found an arsenal of firearms, all of which were legal, perhaps with the exception of one, and I don't know why, but I want to qualify that. An arsenal. They go and they raid the Coots men during the protest, find an arsenal of weapons and, I'm not saying weapons, firearms and ammunition. And then the CBC prints the photo. It's a very scary photo. Similar tactics everywhere. Once you notice them and once you know how they're used, you don't go and read this and say, holy crap, they found an arsenal at this guy's apartment. At least 13 completed guns were recovered from a Brooklyn man's home, according to prosecutors. An arsenal of ghost guns was discovered at the home of a Brooklyn man accused of buying gun parts worth thousands and constructing the untraceable firearms. Imagine that they're going after this guy, who we're going to hear the entire story of tonight, for having untraceable firearms, allegedly. So untraceable that they managed to find him, but we'll get to how that happened because I know. And yet the Nobel Peace Prize winning Obama literally traffics firearms to Mexican cartels who then use them to murder Border Patrol agents. And that man gets a Nobel, or he got his Nobel Peace Prize beforehand. This man gets prosecuted. County prosecutors said the man had 4 assault weapons. I'd like to know how they define that. 5 handguns and 4 rifles completing assembled and stashed at his Brunswick apartment when authorities executed a search warrant April 6. Dexter Taylor, 51, was arraigned 37 count indictment. He's up for 18 years in jail by the sounds of it. Attorney, information for the man was not immediately known. The defendant allegedly acquired a massive arsenal of homemade ghost guns that are as real and dangerous as traditional firearms. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I knew something called the Second Amendment in the States. I thought I heard of this decision called the Bruin decision that resolved a lot of these issues. The Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said, in addition to the 13 completed firearms, officials found rifle and pistol magazines, casings, bullets, primers, and gunpowder to build ammunition and various tools commonly used to build firearms. In other words, he's a very, very run-of-the-mill, ordinary gun owner. But in New York, gun ownership is a liability, and that is part of the plan. Police investigators determined Taylor ordered ghost gun kits from online sellers and had them shipped to his Brooklyn apartment, according to prosecutors. By assembling guns from kits, unfinished parts, or 3D printed components, those who possess ghost guns evade critically important background checks and registration requirements, and because they have no serial number, they are untraceable, Gonzalez said. It's funny, the guys are pretty sure he's a registered firearm owner. Pretty sure. We'll see. State and federal officials have targeted these types of guns turning up at crime scenes. I'd like to know, we're going to discuss this, what rate of gun crime is committed by ghost guns. I would imagine it's a fraction of a percent. We'll see. I'm actually going to look this up in a second after we finish this. So they show up at crime scenes in increasing numbers, including in the Bronx, where police believe a suspect used a ghost gun in the slaying of a 16-year-old honors student. So we have one case where they believe. Not sure they believe. Earlier this month, the Biden administration unveiled a new rule to change the definition of a firearm and will require federal firearm dealers to add serial numbers to ghost guns that come their way. So that's what the man has been charged with, and that's the overview, and I don't want to get too much into it. But this is obviously a very important issue. I mean, it's important for Canada as well, but much more important for the States, obviously. And hold on a second. Let me see something here. Viva, be very careful. There are no such thing as a ghost gun. Well, obviously, they're not quite that ghosty if it resulted in the raid of Dexter. I mean, build kits are the most expensive way to build guns. Yeah, and when the kits are traceable, nobody's got a ghost gun. Hold on, there we go. I got an email. Okay, cool. Sorry, I got an email. So that's the story. Now that's what's going to be happening here. It's a very important issue. There's been, I have been told, because I know who my audience is, that not enough people are paying attention to this story. So we're going to put it on blast a little bit tonight. And let me see here. Bulk Bogan at Viva Frei. I am an FFL. Ghost guns are already required to have serials before we can sell them. FFL, I know that means firearm trained, but hold on, let me just see what FFL stands for. FFL, firearm acronym. I know the chat's going to get it before I can get it. Federal firearm license. Okay, that's like the PAL up in Canada. I said someone's going to get it before I can type it. Thank you. It's like the private acquisition license up in Canada. So it's a big issue. And now let me actually just text our guest and make sure everything's good. Hold on one second. All good on your end? Question mark. Let me know if there's a problem. Period. I'm live now. Comma. We'll bring you in as soon as I see you in the backdrop. So that's the situation. We're gonna get to our guest in a minute. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna end on YouTube before it happens. And did I forget this? No, I got Lynn West over with the goat. Okay, good. Everybody, come on over to Rumble. We're gonna end this on YouTube. The question was this. Thank our sponsors. Links are in there. 1775 Coffee, preservegold.com. Promo code Viva for both of them, obviously, for obvious reasons. We're going to end this on YouTube. Bring it over to Rumble. The link is in the pinned comment, and I'll give everybody the link to Locals as well. It's nothing like a pal. Hold on. Link to Locals. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Come on over to Rumble or Locals, people. But we are ending on YouTube now.